Mr. Speaker, the consensus amongst independent forecasters is that the government's energy plan will reduce peak inflation by around 5 percentage points. It will reduce the cost of servicing index-linked government debt and lower wider cost of living pressures. And it will help millions of people and businesses right across the country with the cost of energy. Let no one doubt, Mr. Speaker, that during the worst energy crisis in generations, this government is on the side of the British people. The Bank of England are taking further steps to control inflation, acting again only yesterday. And I can assure the House that this government considers the Bank of England's independence to be sacrosanct. And we remain closely coordinated with the Governor and myself, speaking twice a week. But, Mr. Speaker, high energy costs are not the only challenge confronting this country. Growth is not as high as it should be. This has made it harder to pay for public services, requiring taxes to rise. In turn, higher taxes on capital, higher taxes on labour have lowered returns on investment and work, reducing economic incentives and hampering growth still further. This cycle has led to the tax burden being forecast to reach the highest levels since the late 1940s, before even Her late Majesty acceded to the throne. We are determined, Mr. Speaker, to break that cycle. We need a new approach for a new era, focused on growth. Our aim over the medium term is to reach a trend rate of growth of 2.5%. And our plan, Mr. Speaker, is to expand the supply side of the economy through tax incentives and reform. That is how we will deliver higher wages, greater opportunities, and crucially, Mr. Speaker, fund public services now and into the future. That is how we will compete successfully with dynamic economies around the world. And that is how, Mr. Speaker, we will turn this vicious cycle of stagnation into a virtuous cycle of growth. So, as a government, we will focus on growth, even where that means taking difficult decisions. Now, none of this is going to happen overnight, but today we are publishing our growth plan. Today we are publishing our growth plan that sets out a new approach for this new era, built around three central priorities: reforming the supply side of the economy, maintaining a responsible approach to public finance, and cutting taxes to boost growth. Mr. Speaker, the UK today has the second lowest debt to GDP ratio of any G7 country. In due course, we will publish a medium-term fiscal plan setting out our responsible fiscal approach more fully, including how we plan to reduce debt as a percentage of GDP over the medium term. And the OBR, Mr. Speaker, will publish a full economic and fiscal forecast before the end of the year, with a second to follow in the new year. Fiscal responsibility remains essential for economic confidence, and it is a path we are committed to. Today we are publishing costings of all the measures the government has taken, and those costings will be incorporated into the OBR's forecast in the usual way. The House should note that the estimated costs of our energy plans are particularly uncertain given volatile energy prices, but based on recent prices, the total cost of the energy package for the 6 months from October is expected to be around £60 billion. We expect the cost to come down as we negotiate new long-term energy contracts with suppliers. And in the context of a global energy crisis, Mr. Speaker, it is entirely appropriate for the government to use our borrowing powers to fund temporary measures in order to support families and businesses. That's exactly what we did during the COVID-19 pandemic. A sizable intervention was right then, and it is right now. The heavy price of inaction would have been far greater than the cost of these schemes.